Hi there everyone, welcome back to another video here with me, Jenny Kirk, up in the loft on Weir Yard. Now today I'm really excited because it's a repeat visit from a product from TRS Trains. Now you probably remember those amazing locomotives that we had the privilege to test out here on Weir Yard before. Now the first one was that A1 Tornado, and it really blew people away, literally, with that smoke machine that it's got in it that just looks like smoke. And this is a far cry from the kind of oily, horrible, almost like a joss stick burning effect that we've seen in the past from smoke units. They've been around for a long time, just not very effective. This changes the game. Now subsequently TRS Trains did loan us a 14XX auto tank, and for me that was probably the most amazing model because it was so small and yet it featured that working smoke unit, the sound and a stay alive. And actually it was quite amazing on that. You picked it up and put it on the desk and it just kept going, sound and all. Now TRS Trains has now upped their game with working drain cocks, and you might have seen some videos covering this on Facebook. There's a few videos being posted, but I believe this is the first time it's been shown on a working layout. At any rate, I was very privileged to be loaned the Brighton Atlantic by Kyle from TRS Trains when I met him at the Great Electric Train Show. Now it's been a couple of weeks and we've just had so many videos to get through that it's only now that I'm able to show you this amazing model. Now it's a very involved conversion and I'm going to go into that in some depth in the video, but needless to say it's got that same really effective and eye-catching smoke unit that is synchronized to the sound, which in turn is synchronized to the piston movement. So it's really great, well thought out package, but it goes that one step further and we've got working drain cocks. And this effect for me, I actually prefer this to what's coming out of the funnel. I think that this is really showing just how good this water-based system is for mimicking not just smoke but steam as well, which is notoriously difficult in smaller scales to actually get to look correct. Because the thing is, when everything gets smaller, you've got to remember that the molecules that everything are made from, including the water that's in the steam, don't get any smaller, and that produces some weird effects. But this has just defied the laws of physics, or at least appears to. It doesn't, but it does appear to, and it creates that smoke and steam that looks to scale. But anyway, that's enough about me gushing. Come with me in association with today's sponsor, Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. And we've got a link for them down below at train-o-matic.com, but also their UK and European stockists at tramfabrique.nl. Do go and check them out for the full range. And a big thank you today for TRS Trains, and we've got a link to their Facebook page down below if you want to go and check them out and treat yourself to something special like this Brighton H2 Atlantic. This is the locomotive that TRS Trains has very kindly loaned to the channel for a closer look at. Now, you may remember in previous videos we've taken a look at the Hatton's DJM 14XX that had got an awful lot packed into a small locomotive, including this very innovative smoke unit that uses actually water rather than oil or anything like that to get a much more realistic smoke effect. Now this locomotive takes things one step further. We've got the working drain cocks which blast the steam out underneath as well as the smoke unit, and this is actually a very involved conversion. Now, I was talking to Kyle from TRS Trains, and he said that whilst outwardly the locomotive looks pretty similar to this bone stock example that I've got here, it's required a full rebuild of the front chassis. So everything at this forward of the driving wheels has been completely replaced in here in order to accommodate what's going on, and the front bogie as well is incredibly changed. You can just see there that we've got a complete change of the way it's mounted compared to the bone stock version, which is on a central spring. Now, all of that is to accommodate the means whereby it can blow steam out from underneath. It does this as an automatic part of its setting off cycle, so when you first start it moving, if the smoke unit is on, then it starts to blast steam out. Now, this can also be controlled separately, so you can have it sat there and just blast the steam out as well. Now, there are a few other things as well that this locomotive has going on over what the bone stock example from my own collection has. Now, I'm going to roll these very carefully upright, and you'll see that one of the initial areas is that it's had full detailing. So we've got real crushed coal that's been graded and glued in over the top. This is the standard weight that comes with the Bachmann locomotive. We have some very, very light weathering, and it's almost a sheen that's been applied to the locomotive to show a locomotive that is being kept clean, but at the same time is in used condition. So it's actually a really great effect. It just looks ever so slightly oily is the best way of describing it. We've got the suggestion of water spilled around the filler cap on the tender. Now, other areas where this locomotive has been upgraded, we've got a crew in the cab there, and just very carefully, because I want to support this front bogie. On the front of the locomotive, we've got the train reporting discs and some lamps there. And on the rear of the locomotive too, we've got some lamps added. So quite subtle, but as I said before, the real area where the business is going on is this extra smoke unit that's been added. Now, it is fully sound fitted. Now, the bone stock version is fairly simple to add sound to, but where things move on by leaps and bounds is that smoke unit. And in order to accommodate that within the locomotive, as I said before, it's had a complete chassis rebuild from the front drivers forward. And, you know, some people have expressed that these do seem quite expensive on the conversion, but the work that goes into these is quite astounding. And I defy you to be able to do this to this kind of standard. And more importantly, have the locomotive run reliably at the end of it all. That is actually quite a skilled job, and it's been pulled off perfectly. Outwardly, at least, it just looks like a hyper detailed stock version of the Bachmann H2. Just rolling it carefully upside down, we can see some of this work that's gone on at the front. The front bogie has had its entire middle removed. It's got a new mounting point as well there that's been fabricated, and you can see that the chassis is gone to be replaced with the mechanism that allows this realistic steam and smoke effects. Now, if I go back to the bone stock version, you can see there it's very different. There's quite a lot of substance inside the bogie frames, and we've got that central spring mounting point, and deep down underneath there we've still got quite an intricate chassis. This is a lot of work that's gone in to mill that out. Now I'm going to transfer these straight over to the layout, and let's just see what this can do. So we've moved over to the layout now, and I'm just going to very carefully bring this in and get it onto the track. And what I'm going to do is I've got some distilled water. They do come with a pipette, but I didn't get a pipette with this one. I think it's just not ended up in the box. So I'm going to use a small syringe with an applicator on the end. And I'm just going to drop in few drops of the water, not too much. I don't want to drown the thing, and might need to just blow down there just to make sure that all is well. So we've got the sound switched on, and that is actually quite a nice sound. So I need to go to Shift and 5. If it doesn't initially blow out any steam, quite often this is just because water is sitting itself on top of the actual diaphragm that causes the effect. So if this happens, what I've been told and what I found with the 14XX, the best thing to do is blow briskly just down the funnel there. So let's try that again. And you can see there the effect is actually quite impressive. So the effect from that is ever so convincing. And when you think about how a conventional smoke unit would be, not only would it be dirty, but it would be smelly as well in a confined space such as this. Let's just see now. So Shift headlight 0. Still not getting, just a little bit tricky to get the smoke from the funnel up and running. Like I said before, this particular conversion is very much more involved. So perhaps it's a bit low. So let's try it with a little bit more in. So headlight. That effect is incredible, and the way that that kind of lingers, I'm just blowing there. So you can just see how it hovers ever so well. So I've had a play about, like I said before, it's a little bit harder to get the conditions just right for this locomotive. And what I've actually done is I've taken a little moment to empty it out of all the water and then refill again. And I think it must have just had an air bubble or something that was just stopping that water from getting to the mechanism. But as you can see, we've now got the actual smoke from the exhaust, and it is synchronized with the actual motion. So let's just see how it does here. And it is really quite an energetic jet, as you can see, but it looks like proper smoke. And this is the massive advantage of this system. Well, I hope you really enjoyed that video as much as I enjoyed making it and showing you this really quite unique product. We've got those links down below that take you to TRS Trains' Facebook page, and you can make contact with them there if this is something that you really want to get onto your layout after having seen today's video. Also, don't forget to tickle that like button and share this video too. Let other people know about the content that we're putting out here, and let them know about some of these great products which are reaching the market. But until next time, if you aren't subscribed, do consider subscribing, ring that bell and choose notifications all, and I'll see you next time for another exciting video here on the Jenny Kirk channel. But until next time, you take great care of yourself. Bye for now. Today's video is sponsored by Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders designed to be fully compatible with every manufacturer's locomotive. Visit train-o-matic.com to browse the full range and see what they've got suitable for you. I'd like to send out a huge thanks to everybody who supports me on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Offshore Allen, oorail.co.uk, Michael Lockie, Helen Sink, Peter Bolton, Brian and Dorothy Mudd, Gary Lewis, David Quinn, Sparky107107, George Botterini, Chris Moss, Robert Steers, MD of San Juan Model Company and Grantline Products, Sam Yates, Dale Williams, John N. from NC, NYMRish, Jonathan Foster, Peter, Graham Foster, Clifford Ison, Larry W. Grant, NI Railways 4000 class, Ian Coulson, and Alan Dickerson. Thank you. Without you guys, I couldn't do this.